Hey everyone, and welcome to another stream. Welcome. We're going to continue working on the pulse checker, and we're going to directly get started into that as well. I'm just going to make sure I have everything ready in terms of chat, reply commands as well, blah blah blah. All right, let's start with the. Awesome. So, how are you doing? How is everyone's weekend going on? Okay, let's open this guy. Da-da-da-da-da. Awesome, looks good. Alrighty, so I can see the chat messages as well. Let's open PulseChecker and then we'll take it from there. By the way, if you don't know what PulseChecker does, you can type the command today in the chat, and I think it should tell you as well. So let's actually commands today ngbook, and then also I think Discord, so you can add that as well, and let's add some spacing there as well. Commands in the chat today, ngbook, Discord. There we go. I think this is much nicer. Let's fix that really quick. There we go. Awesome. What was this guy? Bottom banner. Okay. Let's also bring the Pomodoro clock as well, and we can also make sure that everything is visible there as well. Is my voice okay? Can I get some thumbs up if the voice is okay, and then we can start looking at the code. Let's also bring the Pomodoro clock here as well. Awesome. All right, so let's go to focus Doro. Let's also start the focus. We'll also look into the tasks as well. I don't think we added any tasks last time. So let's say we want to go with, I don't know, is the Firebase thingy expired? No. There we go. Awesome. Srashti, how's it going? So let's say we start with, today we are going to work on the real-time messaging from the person who's giving the feedback to the dashboard. So as soon as there is a new input, we can actually see those inputs to the dashboard. So the app that I'm working on, and you can type exclamation today in the chat as well, that you can see right there. So the commands that you can put in the chat are those ones. And if you also want to look at the YouTube channel or the Twitter channel, you can see them right there as well. At the bottom, you'll see I have some Twitch goals for this month, or for this month and the next one. So we'll follow those. But today we are going to essentially have real-time updates of messages or of feedback responses. I think we can do this in 2 Pomodoros. So 25 minutes, we can do that. One thing that I need to fix in this app is if I click outside, it just closes, but I don't really know if I want to do that, because I mistakenly close this all the time by just clicking outside. Anyways, let's set that goal. Awesome. Good. Cool. So we can start, and you should be able to see that small clock as well changes when we change anything in our application, because they are both in sync with each other. So let's start with the focus one, and then we'll start looking into the app itself. Okay. So what we want to do right now is we're gonna go to our pulse checker, and let's first quickly make sure that, okay, so I have some things running at the moment. Let's see what I changed last time. So we created a response service, find it and device session. I think last time, as far as I remember, I was able to update the sessions correctly. Yes, and then we also had is loading data, blah blah blah, session component. Okay. Okay, so I did have some patches. For example, this comment should not be here at all, but we are going to remove them one by one. This was deliberate, so this is not a problem at all because this was a new component that we created. And then later on we also want to support order, but we will not do it at the moment. We'll look at that later on. Alrighty. Yeah, this component looks good. Let's add that one. I think the response service is also good. We'll add that one as well. The session controller, we can also be fine with that because we just added one more to this. And this is we are getting responses back. Cool. Then we also had the feedback service, which had the get identity responses. It was also pretty simple to implement as well, but I'll share with you in just a bit. And then we had session component, and then this is the session component that added a bunch of stuff. I'm going to keep this one on for now. So what do we want to do at the moment? Let's see if I can run npm start, and my Docker container should be up as well. Yeah, so the PulseChecker is running at the moment. All right, let's see. We should be dividing these into two. So let's do a localhost 4200 here. Okay, let's bring this like here, and then we can also add one more duplicate, and then let's bring that one about here somewhere. Okay, let's zoom out a bit. Alrighty, so what do we want to do right now? So what I've done last time, I don't know if I was live, but I think maybe I was not live, but I added a few features within PulseChecker. So what I want to show you is this. So we have session one with different ratings, not this one, but I think rapid API host. So this one, if I go to this as in the session right now, for example, this one has this comment, what the heck? And this is being shown right here. If I change this to anyone, for example, I can see, or I can also pick names from the chat, but I only see Srashti at the moment. So I'm gonna add Srashti from YouTube. So if I change this what the heck to this one, and if I submit, you'll see that this says feedback submitted, or you probably don't see it. I'm gonna bring this a bit up like this. And I'm gonna bring this guy up as well. So if when I click submit, it gets submitted. However, the loader doesn't go away. That's a problem. So we'll see why that is the case, but we'll fix that. But this is submitted. So if I refresh now, you see that now it says Thursday from YouTube. I recall that the name is not correct. So we can submit again, and you can see feedback submitted. So the loader is not being hidden. So let's fix that first. So we're going to go to our component, that is the session feedback component. And in here, we do have a variable that is called form submit. When we do form submit, we do a feedback submit. I believe this goes to the session component. Whoops, session component. And here, when we do feedback submit, which is right here, we call the submit feedback event or submit feedback method. And here we are turning this submit feedback to true, but we never set it to false. So here we need to just set it false, and this should be good. We also should be handling any errors that might arise. So for example, I was handling the errors here properly. But we are going to look at that later on. I don't know if I can. Yeah, I don't think we need to worry about that, to be honest, because now we are not changing any colors or whatever, or are we? If I go to this app and if I change this, previously we had, for example, let me show you the live one, and I've changed that, but I'm not really sure if I should keep it the way or if I should change it. So for example, if I go here, actually I'm gonna disable the timers. So for example, this is a live one. So if I go here in the PulseChecker, or actually let's try to go and give a feedback. So when we used to give a feedback, the whole color would change. Do you think this is a better UI than this one? Because the problem is a person may or may not have this. For now, they will definitely have this. But do you think this is a better UI than what we have right here? So this one is local. This one is on production. Do you think local one is better or do you think production one is better? What do you think? Again, this black one is local and this one is on production. So which one do you think is better? When I've selected yellow right here, you can see that this is the only one highlighted and the rest of them are not. When this is selected in yellow, the whole background also changes. So what do you think? Local? Is local fine? Is this one better? Okay. Because the thing that I also changed was in this one, you had no separation of questions. In this one, you have a separation of questions, like you have this line coming in as well. And in the future, what you would probably have is you could have a lot of ratings. You could also have multiple of these as well, like too slow, good pace, too fast. You can have multiple of these. So far, I'm just gonna keep it as it is. Okay, let's also keep the zoom level same. So this is 100% right now. This is 100% right now. So this is the difference at the moment. And if you want to check the mobile version as well, then it would actually look something like this. So everything should be here. And you could have something like this, right? And then you can have reactions and whatnot. I think personally this one looks a bit more sleek and nicer. The only difference is here it changes the whole background color. And then you can customize that as well. Some people find this more interesting, but I think this is much sleeker. So it's not a surprise to the user and it's still pretty sober. So I'm going to keep this one. Okay, so what we're working on right now is if I give a feedback, for example, if I change this to good pace and if I submit, you can see the loader now goes away. The feedback is submitted. But if I change anything, for example, if I save now, you can see there are 2 people who have given good, including this guy. If I change this to red, then I should have 1 red, 1 green, 1 yellow. So if I submit now and refresh, you can see 1 red, 1 green, 1 yellow, right? The thing that we have right here is I have to refresh the page to see the result. And what we want to do is not to have that. We want to have the whole thing updated in real time. And we already have a way to do that. So in Supabase, we have something called real-time channel, or which is used for presence and which is used for different things. Like, for example, if a lot of people are collaborating on the same document and they're moving their cursors, everyone can see each other's cursor, but nothing is being saved on the database. So it goes from one front-end application to the other front-end application, and the data is not being saved anywhere. So this is not a database. It's like a real-time communication channel, which I think behind the scenes uses sockets or something. But Supabase provides a really nice way of doing that. So what I want to do now is I want to send I want to send the messages. The reactions already work real time. So let me show you the reactions. So for example, if I zoom in, you will see that we have 10 thumbs up, 10 hearts, but 8 waves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press 2 waves. So 2 more reactions go. So if I click 1, 2, and now you see automatically this became 10. So I did not have to refresh at all. But if I change any of the data, then I have to refresh. So we're going to make sure that both of these things work. So I've already set up the Supabase real-time channel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually first of all remove the console log from here. And then we can also remove the reactions from here. I think what we do right now is that we just say reactions added, and when we send this to the session, then we make a fresh call without even sending the sessions. We could do it in a better way by just I mean, we could optimize it as well, but we could also just send the reactions from here as well. And now I'm thinking what we should be doing. The only problem that becomes is if we have race conditions or something like that, then we need to also update. But I think I have something on the other side that handles it, and we do it via debounce. So I'm gonna look into that as well. So what happens if there are 5 different people and all of them are reacting using this dug 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 dug? What happens right now is that the dashboard does some sort of what do you call it? The dashboard reloads the data for reactions. But if a lot of people doing it, then the dashboard would be doing it so many times. So what I've done is that I've put a debounce in it. For example, if 5 people do in a span of 1 second, so like reactions and then reactions and then reaction. So all of those are not going to trigger 5 different refreshes, but they are going to trigger 1 refresh because we are using debounce on the dashboard side. Let me know if that makes sense. But from the real-time channel right now, here we send the reaction added, and on the dashboard, this one, we use a on broadcast, get feedback count. Here, exactly. So here we use on broadcast, and then we use get session, get whenever there's a reaction added, we do a get reactions, and then we basically do a I don't see the debounce though. Do I do it on the front end then? I think I do it on the front end. But let's see. So that means that if I go to session component, here we do have a real-time channel, but we don't do a debounce here. So we're going to do the debounce in that case. Okay, no worries. Okay, so let's do that. So in here, we want to do I'm thinking actually we could also have used a manual debounce ourselves, or we could also have used RxJS as well. Let me think what is the nice way of doing this. Because right now that means if I go here and go to inspect, you're going to see what happens when we go with the reactions. So here, if I add 2 reaction, there goes an API call, as you can see right here. Let's do this 2 times. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3, pause. 1, 2, 3, pause. So on the front end, you can see that if I do it quite a lot of times, it will still wait for me before actually sending it. So all of this basically sent 1 reaction, and then we got all of them back. So this is still nice, but if I do it from 2 other places, then that becomes a problem. For example, if I open one more incognito in here, And now if you try to do two different reactions, so let's say anonymous incognito user. If I add this user, hey Bkedev, how's it going? You say, how have you been since I last saw you? I'm good, thank you. I am. It has been an interesting few last days since I'm switching my companies. So I'm gonna work in a different company starting from February. So it has been a bit stressful. Not too much, nothing that I couldn't handle, but it has been yeah, a bit chaotic, but not much. So yeah, I'm pretty excited for the new role, and I also got the Angular Cookbook second edition published. So I'm super happy for that as well. How have you been? Haha, yes, absolutely. All right, so let's give this one, and then a too slow from incognito. So if I submit this one, then we are supposed to get 3 responses instead of 2. And now you can see 3 responses from incognito as well. And now if I talk about reaction, let's try to give reactions from both of them. So I'm gonna bring this guy a bit up so we can do both. So 1 2 3 4 5 6, and now if I look at network, we should have 2 different calls. So this. So you see we got 2 different API calls, whereas I think on the dashboard we should be waiting for everyone to give us the feedback and then make one single call. I think we should do that, but we'll look into it as well. BK says, yes, doing okay. Finished my quickly made website and my world generator, and I'm applying to jobs. Awesome. Redoing the website already, thought is super gross. Okay, but I think it's already good that you have a project to show. We can always optimize. We usually go with the notion of making it work and then making it pretty. So absolutely. All right, so what do we do now? I think what we can do is we can start looking into, because we have all of these things, we I'm thinking I think we could start our own subscription, which can you also use a debounce, because I think this on itself is not. You can see it's a real-time channel. I can't really use any sort of debounce on this. It gives a real-time channel, and this is basically the what do you call it? This is the Supabase client that has all of these things. I don't think this has a debounce. On error, blah blah blah, present, subscribe, callback, real-time subscribe states, timeout. No, I don't think it has it. So we might have to create our own behavior subject for this one. Okay, let's create that. So let's say we have fetch real time or fetch reactions is a new behavior subject, or we could also have just call it a subject that doesn't have to have a value. Okay, and then we are going to use that as an observable, because as yep, this is coming along really nicely, by the way, super smooth. Thank you. It yeah, it's looking really nice. I think the migration has been really challenging, but I think it's going nice. I still have a bit of a concern for a lot of code that's gonna have to be deleted, so to keep it more clean, I do need to start implementing the payment plans and whatnot, and also constraints around that as well. But I think in terms of usability, it's coming nice. Thank you so much for the kind words. So we start with fetch reactions, and I think we also need to say let's see, I think we can also go inside here, inside the init handlers, and we can say const. Let's start with saying const fetch reactions sub equals, and here we can say this dot fetch reactions dot subscribe, and we are essentially subscribing to a subject, but we are also going to put a debounce on it, and we also need to use the destroy ref to unsubscribe. So this dot fetch reaction sub dot unsubscribe, and this is essentially is going to be a subscription, right? This should be this guy. So what we want to do here is we need to call this guy inside this subscription, and then this can essentially say this dot fetch reactions dot next, and we don't really need to provide anything, but if you want, you can just say this, for example. So what I want to do is we're going to use a dot pipe, and in the pipe we are going to also use a debounce. So here we can say debounce time, and let's use the debounce time for, I think, 2 or 3 seconds is a decent debounce time. We should probably use this from a configuration, because I don't like to hard code numbers or values, but we are going to move it somewhere as a constant or configurable constant. So what I want to do right now here is, and I'm going to show you as well how to use a constant or use some sort of dependency injection to do this as well. But what I want to do now is, now if I try to do, for example, the same thing, which is 2 different people giving the feedback or giving reactions, then even though they're going to be doing it simultaneously, unlike before, we will only have one single call. Previously we had 2 different calls. Now we're going to have one single call. So let's have a look at that. So I'm going to remove the breakpoint from here, and now let's go to the network. Let's clear this guy. Now we're going to try to do the same thing. So multiple reactions. So for example here, oh, how did we end up with 102 hertz? How did we do that? Interesting. So 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, and now waiting for 3 seconds, and there you go. So what happened is it tried to make a call, but then also it then got the response back afterwards. So this is nice. We wait for everyone to have given the feedback or given the reaction, but it takes at least 3 seconds to basically get that information afterwards. So let's try this, because I know that there is about 2500 or 2500 milliseconds before anything comes in. So let's do, actually I'm gonna double check this. So from the session feedback component, where we are trying to give the reactions, I think it goes from the session component. Add reaction, yeah, this one. So save reactions is right here. So emoji tapped, whenever we tap the emoji, this should come from the here, and then if I go to emoji bar, we have subject of and then debounce time, which should be right here. So it takes 2 seconds at least to send that information. So in that case, we can quickly go and say and do this after 2 seconds. So let's say 1 2 3 1 2 1 2 3 1 2 and 1 2 3. Now it should come. There we go. Awesome. BK says, I like how you use the stream as a rubber duck. It's very informative. Yeah, absolutely. I think it also gives me an opportunity to speak out loud while I'm coding. As you said, using a rubber duck, but that's also pretty valuable when you go in an interview, because then they need to know how you're thinking, essentially. But then I can also, I think one of the best benefits is I can also get feedback from you folks as well, if I'm doing this correctly or if you have better ideas, of course. So this actually worked nicely. I think we're good. Imran Sheikh, hey, how's it going? So we want to do the same thing into the other component as well. So if I go to okay, now we have a 5 minutes break. So let's not code for a while. Imran says thumbs up. Hey Imran, how's it going? I'm also gonna start the break timer as well, otherwise we won't be able to do it. Okay, let's jump to break and then start it. Bika says, I haven't had an interview yet, so that's great advice. Thank you. No problem. I need to practice lead code. Yeah, me too. I I think I've been thinking of practicing lead code for years now. I haven't done it. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it because I have so many projects to work on. I don't get time at all. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But absolutely, this is something I say all the time. Is it's a the knowledge that you have becomes quite irrelevant sometimes when you go to interviews, depending on who's gonna take your interview, because people usually have it depends from person to person, but people usually ask questions that are based on their own experience, and it's very likely you're not going to have those experiences, or you might have those experiences if you're already an experienced developer. So it really depends. Sometimes people come up with stupid corner cases or corner edged questions, but I think even those questions are not bad, but expecting people to know those questions is weird. so so yeah, because I've been in a company named Klarna. I'm not sure if you have heard of it. And I took, I think in my last year when I actually started taking interviews, in 1 year I took about 90 interviews, 90 interviews. And I think there was 1 week where I took 3 interviews of 1.5 hours each. And that was crazy, super crazy. Yeah, the finance company, the shopping slash finance thingy. So I worked there as a senior software engineer for about 2 years. I think they have. I mean I know they have expanded in the US, also in the UK. Australia was also a market that they were looking at. By the time I was leaving, and that was 2 years ago, they were looking more into expanding in Europe, in Italy, blah blah blah. You have applied to them? Awesome. It's a good company. I think that especially the technical expertise of the company, of the developers, was really really good. I was really happy, just and really impressed by all the developers and the teams and the architects specifically. um, so that was super super nice. I think Klarna has been one of the companies in which I learned a lot of things, especially because it was a product based company. But then also it was a product based company having millions and millions of monthly active users. So we always had to think about scalability, or when it came to Black Friday or Cyber Monday, always that was super super interesting. My camera's gonna die, so I'm gonna replace the battery now. BK says that's good. Always cool when you're working with people better than you. Absolutely, yes. I like to be, or one of the people in my company, Salt. Alan knows him, Matthias. He always used to say, like, I like to be the second best person in the room, so I can always learn. And I mean I didn't have the same philosophy, but I rather had a philosophy of the fact that if you're the smartest person in the room, then you're probably in the wrong room. And I think that has been one of the major reasons why I switched any company, because either there was no growth further, or I was not learning as much. Alan says, hello bro, congratulations again on the new job. Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you so much. I'm waiting for the message from you as well. I had a couple of discussions. I had a contact with Hugo recently. So Hugo, Stephen, a lot of cool people as well. So it's great to see a lot of people actually getting jobs. Because I don't want to be a big fish in the small pond, or whatever the saying. Yeah, exactly. I think I don't know if there's the same saying in English, but in Urdu we have a saying which basically translates to one dirty fish makes the whole pond dirty, or basically impacts every other fish in the pond. But that's towards the negative side of it. Congrats on the new job. I didn't know. No problem. Thank you. I'm switching companies, so I'm gonna start from 1st of February in a company named Scania, in Sweden. So this is it's amazing that it has been here for about 100 years, and it's a pretty nice company. It's a pretty big company. It was really interesting when the manager I had the meeting with, um he picked me from the train station, and then we were going towards the office, and then in his car, and then we basically reached a sort of sort of hill, but it's still on the road. And then there were two ways, so he had me look at the view, and he was like, okay, you see far left, that's from there to the far right, where to the point where you can see, that's all Scania. And I was like, ooh, that's big, that's interesting. I guess we have one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. Yeah, that's a similar one. I wonder if these are taken from, or where do they come from? Like all these things they have, because I often find something similar in the other languages that we have, and then in my language we usually have. Dude, that's so cool knowing your code is being used like that, though. Yeah, absolutely. It's gonna be interesting. But yeah, I think just the possibility of someone someone using your code, or the impact that you're creating, that is really really important. I think that is the main thing, and I usually ask that in the interviews as well. Like, what is the team going to do, what I am going to do, what are the expectation of the company from me, what are the expectation of the team from me as well, what is the next big goal, what is your next milestone. So often it is said that when you go into interviews, you should also be asking some questions, and these can be the potential questions, because juniors usually don't have as many questions, and they're always like, okay, what do I ask? So you can always ask things like, what does a day look like in your company, what does the team look like for which you are interviewing me for, and similar things. For example, since I'm a bit senior, I also ask questions about the company's vision, for example, for the next year, the company's challenges for the next year as well, what is the biggest thing that they are struggling with, that sometimes also expose questions, or expose things that is good to know for you. For example, asking these questions from different companies, sometimes people have said, okay, the biggest challenge right now that we have is we are migrating a huge code base from a very legacy code base to a modern one, and then I know, okay, this team is actually working on an older technology, or they are struggling to find a good balance between new features versus the migration. Or they say that we are, for example, some one of the companies said that they are looking for securing more investment for the next phase, and then you also know, okay, what to expect in this particular case. And about the stability of the company, if it's a startup, you can also ask, what is the state of the startup itself. Um, are you currently in a venture capital already, or do you have investment? Is it round A, round B, whatever? And then also the team size, the expected team size, so you know which kind of company you're getting into and what to expect as well. And then it's very very important to have your expectations cleared out, especially when you see that, okay, I'm going to get this job. So once you go through those interviews, you have done the technical experience, or the technical code review, or whatever that is, that step done, then I think it's always good to know what is the expectation from you that will get, or that will secure your raise the next time. Because right now, when you switch a company, or when you are hired, obviously then that's where you're starting. But what about 1 year later? And I think it's a very big failure from the companies who don't have this information. This is a harsh truth, but I think that is one of the biggest failures of companies who don't really see how do we encourage our employees, or how do we grow our employees to the next level, or what is next for them for 1 year or something like that. And I've worked into companies which had no growth plan, or stages for developers to grow, or concrete steps. Because then when the time comes for a raise, you either get a random raise, which is, I don't know, it could be any different number based on whatever factor, or it could be no raise at all. So it really depends. So I think it's good to always, from the company's perspective, it's always good to, for the companies, it's good to decide for the employees, like, this is what we want from this person, and we want to tell them that, okay, you need to learn this and this and this, do this and this certification, or if the success criteria of the company for that developer or for that employee is just, for example, no deadlines missed, or being proactive in the team, or taking initiatives. So those kind of things, when you actually tell the employees, then they know exactly this is what I'm gonna do. And then when the time comes for the raise, whether it's in 6 months or whether it's in a year, it's always good to then discuss based on those factors. So what I try to do is that once I have these expectations cleared from the beginning, then I keep those things in sort of a log. So for example, if expectation from me is to take initiatives, and uh, let's say the expectation is to help with a new milestone, then as soon as I've achieved that, I would put that in a Google Excel sheet or some document. And same goes with taking any initiatives that I've taken. For example, I introduced a tool that actually helped the developers, or I implemented a tool that helped other teams. So those are sort of the things are really helpful when you go into the raise round, or when you are sort of renegotiating your salary. So you can take those points and say, all right, this is what I've done in the 6 months or in a year, instead of just going there blank, and then you don't have any, I wouldn't call it leverage because that sounds negative, but you don't really have anything that can back your whole story, or that can back your whole effort of what you have done in the past. And that has been one of the challenges that I've seen working in different companies. But yeah, really helps. Imran says, my teacher uses this phrase to refer me and my friend that these dirty fishes are destroying the whole class. I've heard that one, yes. Because as that's interesting. When should you ask those questions towards the start? Majorly, I think it's really good to do them when you have your first interview, because that's usually the non-technical one. So the first one is just recruiter and you asking or getting to know each other. I think it's really important to be really transparent in those interviews. If you know something really good, if you don't know something, just say straight ahead you don't know that. Because when you go into then the technical interview, you're basically wasting your time and the other times as other person's time as well. So in that interview, in the first interview, then that's when you can ask like, what is the team size, or what is the expectation from this role. Or, and sometimes companies just do normal interviews and then they don't really know which team you're going to be put in, but that's also fine. So those questions can be asked. But I think once you have gone through, or even you can ask the questions about the stage that the startup is in. If it's a startup, if it's in enterprise, then perfect, no worries at all. But for the startups, you can also ask like, what is the stage that the startup is in, have they secured any funding, because then you want to know if the company is stable enough for long term as well. And then the team size, how many employees are there. And I've in my experience, sometimes recruiters don't know those numbers, like what is the team size. Sometimes they don't really know, but they can say, all right, I'm going to get back to you with that one. So I think it's good to ask then, or you can ask in after the technical interviews as well. But when the technical interview comes, I usually ask a lot of questions. So I'm like, okay, what kind of technology stack do you use? Do you have, for example, a monolithic application, or are you working with microservices, or what is your biggest technical challenge? What has been your recent achievement, for example? So it's more like I'm interviewing, but not to an extent that offends someone. So I usually go when they ask, do you have any questions? And I'm like, yes, I do have a lot of questions. And then I can start from those. Good advice. I think it's easy to forget that they want you as well as you want them. Exactly, yes. So it's a two-way deal. So not a one way. But it's understandable when you don't have a job and then you go into a job to basically ask those questions. So definitely. Awesome. Let's continue. I'm gonna look at the time as well. Oh, I have to take a break because it's a prayer time. So I'm gonna have to pray and then come back. So I'm gonna take a 5 minutes break. I didn't realize it has been 4 p.m. already. So I'll be right back, and we'll see you then. I'm gonna also increase the timer as well to 10 minutes instead of 1. So you right now see me fixing things directly into the production. Boom. There you go. See you in a bit. Hey everyone, I got back a bit earlier. Hello I500 IQ. Interesting name. All right, let's actually continue quickly because then I will have to leave for the gym. Alrighty. So let's quickly move towards the other implementation. So what we have done so far is we have done it for reactions. So our reactions now are debounced and they are also unsubscribed as well when we want to do that. We'll do the same for we're going to do the same for the messages as well. So we'll do something like, let's create a subject for fetch messages or fetch responses, so to say, is a new one. So here we can say fetch responses, debounce time, and then we have the same thing. So here we can say fetch responses dot sub, and then in this one we can basically move this. Actually, and this is the dashboard, right? So we get the feedback count, which basically gives the sessions. Get session, get feedback count. I think when we get the session, we get that with the responses. So if I go here, session name, and then we have question card in which we do session.question. Okay, so we don't really need the other one. So let's quickly change this. Get session, get feedback count. So so we just need to get back the session. We don't need the feedback count. And we also need to do the same thing. Wait a second. Yeah, okay. So then this one gets to be this dot fetch responses dot next. We just add to that, and then this one also does the same thing. And then this guy needs to unsubscribe when the component destroys. So I think we are good. Amir says, if your primary audience is from Pakistan, then it's bad time to live stream as YouTube is blocked at the moment. Amir Hamza. My primary audience is not from Pakistan for the live stream. It's everyone. So I am not even aware that YouTube is blocked at Pakistan. And I think if there's absolutely zero audience, then even then I don't mind going live, to be honest. Okay, so now let's try this. So what we are going to do is we are going to submit the response from two places, and then we are going to see if it automatically submits the data. So if I submit it, it takes 3 seconds, and then we should have a call right here, if I'm correct. Yes, no, oh, because we're not really, oh, okay, we're not really submitting it. So what we should do is, instead of two different events, right now we have pulse added and then reactions added. We can rather say, instead of pulse added, we can say feedback submitted, and then we can get rid of the third one. So feedback submitted or response submitted or feedback submitted, and then the same should be right here. So is this the session component? What? This one is the session one. So init handlers, I'm listening to pulse added, and then I'm doing to ba 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 ba. But this is not something that I want to. Okay. Now I recall. No, we don't want this. We don't want to do this at all. I'm gonna remove this later on. I'm also gonna remove. Oh, I'm gonna keep this actually init handlers. But then what we want to do is once we have submitted the response, which we do right here. No, no. Where do we submit the response? Feedback comment, init handlers, submit feedback here. So once we have done that, we should just say this dot real time channel dot, I think it's called send, right? And let's have a look at the example for send. So what do? We say an object, and then we just say feedback submitted. So here, let's go to the previous instance, and here we can say broadcast and feedback submitted. Did I miss something? Yes. Now I have everything in control. Compiled successfully. Cool. Open that one and open this one. Okay, so now let's see. If I clear this and submit this, you should see after 3 seconds we should have a call. I don't see the call. That's not good. Why do we not see the call? Fetch XHR. If I do the submit from this one, let's see. Okay, so no calls at the moment. Why? When we do submit response, then we do snack bar open, then we also send this guy. The event is feedback submitted. If I go to session component, then we are listening to the event called feedback submitted. Then we do fetch responses.next, which calls the get session. Okay, so we have a problem. Session component. No, it is a component. Okay, we don't have a problem. So let's see now. So if I hit submit now, do we have a call? No, we don't have a call. Why? Let's have a look at let's have a look at this from the debug perspective. So here we should have the session dot component inside dashboard, and then we should be listening at this one, which is feedback submitted. And if I submit from here, this doesn't work. Why? If I hit submit, nope, it doesn't work. Is it because we are not really, and if I send a reaction, then it works or no? If I hit a reaction, something is wrong. If I hit a reaction, after 2 seconds, this should get here, which right now it does not. Are we calling init handlers anywhere at all? Yeah, so this one is the session component, and it's trying to listen to the real-time channel, which it is saying it's gonna be real-time channel on broadcast, blah blah blah. Okay, so then if I go to this one and if I hit submit, doesn't work. If I see reactions of this, but this was working just before. Okay, it reminds me of the reel that says I'm a developer. Of course it was working a second ago and now it isn't. Okay, so we have this right here, and the channel is session, this session.id. Okay, this is a channel. So let's also put a breakpoint to confirm that that is right. Then we also had the real time channel dot broadcast on broadcast. Okay, fetch next. Yeah, I think this seems nice to me. But this session component that we have, this is the normal session component, and in this one we add responses, blah blah blah. But then we do real-time channel dot send, and then this is feedback submitted. And then we also had the reaction one, like save reactions. So this also should be there. Reactions added. And if I go to this guy, do an inspect, go to session.component.ts, and let's have a look at this. So this guy right here, we should be broadcasting this, and put a breakpoint here as well. So then if I go and do a reaction like this guy, okay, then we came here on the reaction service, then it should make the API call, and now I'm trying to do a real-time channel, and the state here is closed. I'm not sure why the state is closed. Why is the state closed? That's not good. Is it the same for this real-time channel as well? If I look at the real-time channel, for example, if I refresh, this real-time channel also has the state closed. That doesn't make sense. Why is the Supabase real-time channel state closed? I'm absolutely missing something, I think. So we have the broadcast channel, right? Blah blah blah. Okay, I'm not sure why that is. Maybe we can look into restarting the server and then taking from there. So let's see, because this should, the state of the sockets should not be closed. Let's see why that is. But why is YouTube blocked in Pakistan at the moment? Do we know? Okay, so this, let's have a look. So if I refresh this guy, the real-time channel state still seems to be closed. I think it's because I've not subscribed yet. Oh, okay. After that, I think it should be okay. Then if I press reaction, are we sending that at all, or are we not sending it at all? If I look at this, we should have session.component. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one. This is the one. Session.component, which is this one. Then it comes to this channel. Do we have anything else that does before it? No. So it comes here. The session.id is that one. The session is there as well. So we assign the Supabase client to it. Ah, because we are not subscribed. I don't know. I think okay. I think because we are not really subscribing, that's why. Okay, so then I need to go to this component, and then where we had the subscription, I need to put it back there. So this guy still needs to be there. And we removed it. We removed this guy. Okay, so here this actually needs to be there, even if we are not really using the broadcasts. So I can remove this. So this needs to be there. That's why. I'm glad we quickly found it. So let's play. I think now we should be good. So now if we try to do a, yeah, there we go. So we come to this channel, go to responses. We also have some things here as well. Let's go to network. Let's clear this guy. Hit save. Remove all breakpoints. Hit play. Wait, what happened? Come here. Okay, so refresh. Network should be cleared. Now if we do this, then we should have this in about 5 seconds. 2 on that side, and then okay, so reactions are coming in. Good. Now we can also look into the messages. So if I hit submit from here, this should trigger in 3 seconds. Okay, so there we go. So if I submit one, and then if I wait and then submit the other one as well, then I think that should also trigger or delay it. So let's say I hit submit 1, 2, and then submit. So now 1, 2, 3, and there we go. Now it actually did 2 calls. This is interesting. So let's do this once again. So submit 1, 2, submit, and now it did 4. Interesting. So we are doing something wrong. 1, 2. So we have a problem right there. The same goes with reactions then. If I do this from here and then from here. Oh, look at that. That's why. So we have a problem in our logic right there, which is essentially reduplicating all of that. But why? Why do we have that problem? Let's have a look. Okay, so if I go here, I think the event is coming in pretty nicely, but what we have in the dashboard is causing the problem. Okay, so let's see. So we do init handlers. When do we do this? Because every time we get the session, we do init handlers. That's the problem. So we don't want that to happen. And then inside there, we were calling this dot get session. Yeah, there we go. That's why. So we don't really want this to happen. We want to get the session, but then we want to init handler. I think that's because when we have the session, then we can get the session ID. Okay, that makes sense. So we need to change this guy right here. Because the more times we call this, the more times we get all of that happening. Okay, so how do we? So we get the session from here. I think we can use to promise, or is that pipe? No, the to promise is deprecated. First value from and last value from. Okay, so then we can do rather this is sync get session first value from, and then we can use this instead. So this can come from RxJS. This is essentially converting a particular subscription to a promise. So then what we can do is we can say const session equals await and then all the code that we have right here can come in the next line. And then this init handler can go away, and then we can just return return this dot session if we want to use it anywhere. Otherwise, what we need to do is when we use get session ng on init, then here we can but we do have the session okay, so then we don't really need to do it. Why? That's stupid of me. So we're gonna remove that. Let's make this normal as before. But what we just want to do is get rid of init handlers from here, and we can just go and say init handlers first, and we can pass the session ID inside there. And we go init handlers, and then we can pick the session ID because we already have that in the URL. So we can just use that right here, and this should be a string. And yeah, there we go. Yeah, I think we're good. Now let's try this if we are still having those multiple thingy issue. So if I refresh now, let's try with the user with first the reactions count or with the submission. So I hit submit 1, 2, submit 1, 2, 3. Only one call. This is good. So we have fixed the issue. Let's try this once more. Submit 1, 2, submit 1, 2, 3. There we go. Same goes with the reactions. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And we should have in 3 seconds just one single call. There we go. Okay, so we have fixed this issue of multiple handlers being triggered because of our crappy code. Now that has been fixed. So if we have a look at our code now, you're gonna see that this one here says too fast. If I change this to green, then we should have this updated automatically. This is what I wanted to show you. If I submit this in 3 seconds, it's gonna update as well. There we go, automatically. I did not have to refresh anything. That's good. If I change this to too fast, submit, and then too fast, submit, then after 3 seconds, both of them should be red. So now we have, oh, we changed from too slow to good pace. Aha, okay. Okay, then what if I change this to yellow and submit? Then we have 2 yellow, 1 green, and 1 red. What if I change this guy to green? Then we have 2 green and 2 yellow. Aha, interesting. So I can only change that. What if I make this one green as well? Then I would just have 1 yellow and 3 green. Interesting. But that goes the same with this one as well. For example, here 2 people have said, wait, come down. For example, for this one, 3 people have said 2 people have said 3 out of 5, and 1 has said 1 out of 5. So if we change this to 1 out of 5, and this is first field, right? If I submit this, then in 3 seconds, this should change as well. There we go. So we can now get real-time data, I think just 3 seconds apart, which I think is it's probably a good timer range. It's not as bad. You could also have 2 seconds as well, but I think 3 seconds is pretty nice. So what we can do is we can also have our app config, which is right here, and we can have our configurations right here. So let's add a new token. So we can say const, we can say dashboard or session dashboard, debounce, and let's add this as an injection token, and we use the same thing, session this, but we use a new with it. And now we have an injection token right here. So what we are going to do is we are going to provide this. So here we are going to say that we are going to provide this right here. And we can actually have this into constants, to be honest. Now that I think about it, we can say tokens or tokens.ts. I'm going to actually continue the break as well so we can finish this early. Let's go to break, but I'm going to continue working on the break. So we need to have this config, basically having this token in here, and import everything as well. So import from Angular core, and we need to export this guy, export cons session dashboard debounce, and here we import this guy debounce, provide session dashboard debounce, and the value is gonna be 3000. Okay, so this is us providing an injection token to provide our own value, sort of a constant. And then what we can do is we can actually go inside our session component, which should be right here. Is it the one? I think that's the one. So in this one, we can actually bring the token from here. So if we say session debounce, or yeah, session debounce equals inject, and then you can actually import the session dashboard debounce, which should have a value. So here, instead of the 3000 that we had, did we have it here or in the dashboard? We had it in the dashboard, sorry. So this still is relevant, but I'm gonna remove it from this file. It's not in this one. Go away. And then we go in and we go inside our, I mean, we could have also added into the dashboard module as well, but that's fine. We could also provide different tokens in different scenarios, but I'm gonna just move it inside session component here, and then we can inject right here. So inject session debounce, import. Is it correct where it has imported from? Tokens. Okay, cool. So now what I can do is, instead of the 3000 that we have, we can say this dot session debounce. Is it in not a number? Oh, I need to also provide the type of the token. Where are you? Tokens.ts. I think this also is a generic. Yeah. So I can also say this is going to be a number. And then if I go back to my session component in the dashboard, look at this. This is now happy because it knows that this is going to be a number. So then I can quickly select this right here, and then this should still say 3000. So let's try this once more. So if I change this guy from green to red, let's say submit 1, 2, 3. There we go. So it is still using the 3 seconds debounce as before, but now we are providing the value as a constant. Okay, so now that I have this, I can actually remove a bunch of stuff from this component. So here, what I can do is, and the problem right now that I have is I can actually multiple times submit the same feedback. I think we should, I don't know, I think we should probably move away from this page once we are done. Or I don't know, maybe we can disable and re-enable after a while. That's what I'm thinking. Or if then nothing is changed, then we don't, I don't know. because the problem right now is that I can actually multiple times submit this, but then the API has the rate limiting, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. So let's open this, and I think I can remove the rest of the code that we don't really need now. So then let's quickly go to session component. We can also go to close this guy, session component. This one is fine. The one that is in outside is having a bunch of different things that we don't really need. So for example, all of this is not required anymore. I can remove this. I think this was also from the update. Okay. And then we can quickly remove this code as well. Okay, so now what we need to do is we need to get rid of a bunch of functions. So this one, for example, has to go away, the save feedback. This needs to go away. We don't really need that. So we are reducing our lines of code from about 350 lines of code to a bit lower. On paste button click, we don't really need this as well. Emoji tabbed, we don't really need the console log here. Feedback comment submit, we don't really need this as well because we have all the responses now just being sent as one. I think the database migration really did a great job because my code is also much linear, or not as huge, so to say. Okay, so that has been removed. Then we also are looking at, we get the attendee from the server, we merge map. If there's no attendee, we remove that, we take that to the end user, then we assign the attendee to attendee, then we get the session by pin. Then we set the title with that, then we do get attendee feedback. I think this is where we are actually now getting the feedback correctly. Yeah. But then we are also getting feedback counts. This is not required anymore. So I can remove this guy. Oh, I'm using feedbacks. Oh no, okay. So we get the session count is already there. I think we get the session.questions. Yeah, session.questions. Okay, so then we don't really need either the attendee feedback, which is right here. We don't really need that guy at the moment. Then we also have a lot of dependencies are going to be removed as well, now that I see it. Then we have feedbacks, which come here, and then you do feedbacks. Where do we use these feedbacks? This dot feedback. Where do I use the feedbacks? Right here. No, we don't really use feedbacks at all now, do we? So we can remove this guy as well. Okay. Then I just need the responses. So I don't even need the fork join. So I can just do this. Oh, this has made things so simpler. I love it. Then we have responses of type response array. Let's remove this guy. No feedbacks requirement. Init handlers, I think we already do that. No, we don't. Once we have gotten everything, then we do init handlers. That's fine. Then we do loading data false. Walkthrough services start. Okay, and then we also have, we should also have a error or error. Then we should also have open. Here we can say error submitting feedback, and this should rather be this. Wait, What happened to my JavaScript? But then also we should have submitted feedback false right here as well. Okay, good. So reactions, this has now been just 200 lines of code. This is nice. I actually like this a lot. Walkthrough service is sometimes used, sometimes not really. So we can't really say in that manner. But I think a lot of services are not used as much. This one is used, but Supabase, router, destroy ref, snack bar, component alive. Is this being used? No, we don't really use it at all. So we can remove the component alive as well, which means we can also remove a bunch of other stuff as well. Well, I'll do the cleanup later. Said every developer ever. Let's first try this, and then we can go and make sure everything works. So, or Twitch, we submitted, and from incognito, Yas also submitted. So the feedback that we are submitting gets here. So from incognito came in, search the from YouTube also came in, good. Now we can also see if anything else is also I mean the feedback we now know already it works. If I change this red to a yellow, then there should be 2 green, 2 yellow, just like this. And now we can also see reactions. So 1 2 3 4 5, this should be 30, and this should be 15 or 16. So 30 and 16 or 15. Cool, automatically updating. That's good. All right, I'm gonna stop right here. I think we have absolutely migrated the current functionality whatsoever in terms of both creating more and then deleting as well. But I want to do it with once more with a new one, and then we can call it a day. So create a new session. Let's call it test meetup, I don't know, 101. And here we have the rating fields. We call this one quality of content. We say numbers of a star to show, let's say 8. Add field. Here we also say I don't know, relevance, no, recommend this, or how helpful was the, how relevant was the talk to you, for example this one. So this one gets to have 5 stars, this one gets to have 7 stars, and then we can create the session. So session link copied to clipboard. Awesome. I can go here, and then I can go here, and then you can see both of them right here. So how relevant was the talk to you comes here. So if I go test meetup 101, then you can see comment, pace, quality of the content, and all of these. Now the comment is up top, then we have pace. I think this is good. So now we start with the reactions, 1 2 3 4 5, 1 2 3 4 5, and then I should see reactions automatically coming in here. 5 and 5, cool. And then we also have the other ones. So if I just submit this star, 1 star, and submit, this should come in for the how relevant talk. There we go. So automatically we got it without even refreshing. So let's say this one says to something, and if I submit this, I should see something right here in the comment. There we go. And then also we also got this one. Okay, so this is working actually really good. I don't actually think we have anything remaining, to be honest. This works nicely. The token was created. We had session component as well. And then we also had this guy. We also had this guy right here. Okay, so then we can quickly do this. Git status, git commit m. Let's do a feed session add. One thing that I just recall and I want to check before I push this is in the dashboard component and the session component. Did we clean this up? Yeah, okay, this is already clean. Cool, awesome. Let's go back. Add real-time reactions and feedback submissions. Maybe we should lower down the I don't know. Let's keep it. I was thinking maybe we should lower down the number. You know? But I think we are fine. So here, then we can just say submissions. Let's push it. Do we also want to migrate the database right now? Or should I wait and double check? Because this, at least locally, it seems to work perfectly fine. But I think we would have to run the migrations as well on the actual production database, and then we can take it from there. What do you think? Should we do the database migration on production right now? Next stream. What time is it? Okay, we have 2 minutes to 5 p.m. Let's maybe do the migration right now. I think then we are actually done with a lot of stuff on Pulse. Okay, let's see. So we got right here. I also want to check in the projects if we have, because once this is done, then I don't have a lot of features on this. I do have some things that are going to be broken, but I will fix them later on. So creating responses on the session feedback form. I think this one is done. Responses being created and more. However, we can see our existing responses. Yeah, this was done. This was done already. Removing the feedback rating not done. Loader when session is being created. Yeah, we already did that. This one is done. Updating session view and real-time responses are coming. This is the one that we worked on today. So we are going to move this one to done. This can only be done when we actually migrate. I think we can migrate right now. So I'm going to actually do, wait, what happened? This. So just making sure that we have the correct database connected. And I'm gonna say npx Prisma migrate status, just to make sure that I can see everything looks nice. Okay, 7 migrations found, and we also have then question and response, link question. Okay, so we added questions and responses. We also linked questions with session template, and then we also migrated as well. Okay. Okay, so if I just then restart my server, then I'm gonna have basically everything breaking because there would be no responses coming in from anything at all. So right now, with the database coming in, I do have the session, but for example, these are actually production sessions. So if I open Rapid API host, I will not see any questions or whatsoever. So yeah, we have 500 because a lot of things are not really there at all. So this one says, for example, a lot of things are not really there. Find first, invocation, blah blah blah. Okay. So we're gonna do the migration now. Npx Prisma migrate dev, fingers crossed. Let's see if I try to do a I'm nervous. We'll see. So migrate dev. Let's see. Yay! Database is migrated. Awesome. So can I I think I can now run the script as well. So if I go to my migrate feedback, I can essentially run that, but I think that should also create the relevant responses and questions. Vibes of Life says, after watching you and following you, I got reason to love NestJS. NestJS is amazing, man. Totally agree with you. So npx ts node migrate feedback. Hopefully this migration works well and we get everything created, because right now everything is just destroyed there. So if I go and say migrate feedback, hopefully this creates all the questions and the projects. Oh, this looks good. Rating questions created, paste questions created. This is what I wanted. So a lot of these questions should have been created. So this is creating actually for everyone who is using the application. So not just me, but actually other people as well. That's why I was super confused, because if anything fails, then it's a problem. Well, we are good. So a lot of things seem to be going nice. And I think once every question has been created with its own signals and everything, I think then we are good. Then we should be good. Awesome. So I'll wait until this migration is completed. And did my camera die? Oh, my camera died as well. That means we have been up for about 2 hours. But I started with some I started with a low battery, so that's fine. Okay, so the migration is still running because we have a lot of questions and a lot of sessions as well. I think majority of them is actually my lectures feedback, but I think we'll take it from there. So once the migration is done, what I want to do is I want to also then just deploy, merge everything, deploy, and then see everything working. I think that's going to be super nice if everything works. As I said, I'm nervous. Yeah, I can see all the questions that I posted for my lectures. I can't even imagine like how many questions we would have to create for this one, but I also was looking into creating some sort of templates, because one of the problems right now is that I have to right now create the same question for every single lecture that I have to give, and that becomes a bit of a problem. So we'll look into that. Sometimes I also think that it might have been actually easier to not have a different table for both questions and responses, because right now it's really scalable. So if I want let's say if 10 different kind of questions, I can have that in my application, like a slider question, a rating one, a multiple choice, a checkbox, radio. I can have that, but then would people really create those in our system? And that's a question. So the migration has been done. Hey, let's also use this guy right here. Wrong one. Thank you. Okay, let's try this now on local, and then we'll move to see if this actually works on production as well. So if I refresh now, everything should work without any problems. This is my local front end, local back end, working with the production database. So npm start, and we can see if everything is working fine. Then we're just gonna merge and then check this on production, and then we log off. Okay, that's our backend running. This is our front end running. Yay! Awesome. So this doesn't have anything at the moment, but I want to see something that I already had feedback on. For example, the workshop. Yay! So we had the workshop. Awesome. And I also had one, I think I had more in this one. Yes, awesome. And also the messages as well. I also had the HSPK one. I had some responses here as well. So this is good. I like this. And then finally we have test meetup. I think yeah, too slow, amazing session, awesome. So this looks really nice. So we have migrated this. Now let's just merge this, and I think we are then good to go. So because the production is still, if I go to production, the production should actually not work. So if I go to pulsechecker.netify.app, I should be able to receive the session, but if I go the same with here, you're gonna see that this doesn't return anything because, oh, sorry, my bad. The production is still works, and that was also something that was in my head since the beginning. And I think just because I have to go, I'm losing my mind. So listen to this. We have a new migrated database. So we have new tables that are now going to be used with the new version of the application. So we have new code working with new database, but the old code is deployed to production, and the old code still works with the database that we have now. So even with the new database migrations, the old code still works. And this is really, really important, because if you don't have that, then people would start having the application breaking as soon as you deploy the database changes. So what I planned in the beginning and what I've executed is, I have made more changes to the database. I've added more tables, but I've not removed the old tables at all. So every table that we already have is still there. So what I have to do now is, I've created a migration that has picked up different stuff from these tables, like not attendee, but comment, and all of these tables, which are session rating and session feedback. So it has picked values from these, created new tables. So these work. The new one also work. But for example, this one, let's actually have a look at this one. So this one has had how many responses? So this has had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Global Dev Slam, optimizing Angular app like a pro. But this seems a bit weird because I should have had more. Okay, let's have a look. So I'm not really. So this one has been Global Dev Slam, like optimizing Angular app like a pro. This one. I saw 2 comments, but not more. Why did I see just 2? So npm start. For example, this is also a good sanity check as well. So this one, 1, 2, 3, 4. We had Tabish, Samuel, anonymous user. That's fine. So if I go here, I should still see 6 responses for good. Good. So 6 responses, right? Just to make sure that we have everything there. Okay, good. So good by 6 people is good. So we have everything. I was confused if I made a mistake. No. So everything is right here. Good. Okay. And then this one also 6 people, 5 people, 1 person. Cool. So now we can migrate in peace. All right. So how do we migrate? First of all, we need to merge this into our main branch. So if I go to my projects, PulseChecker, actually, let's go to PulseChecker, which is this one. Let's create a pull request. So we did a lot of changes. So here we should have called this. In this one, we actually created creating responses on the session feedback form. So here, creating responses on session feedback, but then also we also had real-time feedback responses and reactions. So these have been added, but this is not against this branch. This is against migrate feedback to fields. This is the one that I'm working on. So this should be able to merge, right? Because it's just 3 commits ahead. Okay, so this one, I created a bunch of stuff here, blah, blah, blah. It's a lot of code considering just a few days. Da, 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 da. Okay, I think this is good. So I can just quickly merge it. Create a pull request. It's like merging yourself. Give me 1 second. Okay, so then I can just say merge pull request. This is going to be merged on a branch and not on main. And now I have pushed in migrate feedback to fields. This is the main branch that I've been working on for the entire migration. And this should be, we should be able to merge this on main. Why can't we merge to main? Let's have a check. So I think this is because if I go to clear git branch, and then we have migrate feedback to fields, git check out this, git pull, then we can say git check out main, git pull. Okay, because I don't have this latest thing, so I think I changed something that I need to fix the conflicts of. So git check out this branch. Let's do a git rebase of main, or let's just do main without interactive. So now we have a problem in emoji bar component. Okay, what did we do there? Emoji bar component. Okay, so we had Angular animations and we added trigger and other things as well. Aha, okay, so idle flying, idle, but I think this adds the, I think we removed. Let's have a look. So in this branch, we do have emoji bar component, and in this one we have trigger. I think we are using the builder right here. No? Yeah, exactly. So here, yeah, so we are exactly. So we don't need these. So we can remove these ones. So instead of this, we use the animation builder. So accept incoming change. What is your typing speed? I think I have quite a lot, but I don't really remember what it is. Do you have an app or app recommendation that we can have a look and try? I mean, there was a competition in the company I was working at, Salt, and I actually won the title there. So I'm not really sure what that is. Git rebase, continue. Wait, git rebase, continue. It seems like there's already a rebase merge directory. But did I? Oh, sorry. Should be git rebase dash dash continue. My bad. And there we go. Yay! Awesome. Git pursue. Git push. Of course, one thing that I don't really like about rebase is that you have to then push force, which kind of makes sense, but only when you know what you're doing. Otherwise, it doesn't. A minute ago, let's create a pull request. Now you can see it says able to merge, no problemo. A huge PR migrating feedback to responses and session ratings to questions. This makes the questions and responses very scalable, much scalable. Wow. And also decouples the questions in a session from the session itself. Okay, I think that's it. You can see the commits that I have. How many commits do I have? 12. that I've done, but I think it has been like a lot of days actually just working on these. So let's wait for this deploy preview. We can check that, and then once that's done, then we can just migrate to uh, then we can migrate to main. So we're gonna wait when the deploy is done. One more thing that I want to check out is the tag. So we have had 0.0.7 last time. Do we also have releases right here? 0.0.4, we haven't pushed the releases, but okay, we can do that, it's fine. Da, 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 da. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, one thing that I haven't thought about actually is we needed to also, because we also introduced a new library in the process as well. I think it's still the build should take care of that. We don't have to do that, but let's have a look at the preview. So sign in with Google. uh and we have errors. What errors do we have? User, and then course errors. Okay, because I've only allowed certain websites to take care of this. Okay, then I can't really preview it. That's scary, but I think we can always roll back. Okay, so git check out main, and also let's just merge this pull request. Merge pull request, and this should start the deployment. Let's look at railway. Log in GitHub. Migrate database. What do you mean? Do I need to migrate my database? Why do I need to migrate database? Migrate your plugin to Railway V2 database. Railway has new way of managing database. Migrate your legacy before January 31st. Stop redeployed. Okay, I think that should be fine. I also want to look into my other build that is being created. So one should be right here. Wait a second. One should be right here, and the second should be on Netlify. Let's double check. Deploys. Okay, so one is building right now. Good. Alrighty, I think we should be good overall. But this deployment is via Docker, so this should be fine. And this one should be fine as well. Okay. There was one issue with Prisma with Postgres. When I started, I didn't know, and that actually caused all the data from production to be deleted. But luckily, I just had one person using it, and that was also a friend, so that was fine. Okay, so we have an issue right here. Why do we have an issue right here? Runtime. Object literal may only specify known properties. TTL does not exist in throttle module options. Is that something that we have added recently, or why does it complain for this? So let's see. Git pull First of all, let's pull from main TTL. Is TTL not here? What do you mean? First of all, am I using npm or yarn? I'm using yarn. So I should not be having that issue. Why do you have an issue on TTL? That's weird. For root, here says we should have options. The option says we have TTL. Maybe we have a new version that is not supporting the time to live. Let's see. So here, let's search this one. Is that a new issue? TTL. Full module. Yeah, it does have TTL. That's so weird. Why would you not have that right there? TTL is a part of it. So you could have an object that could have TTL and then limit. I think it could be failing because we are running something other than yarn there. Could be. Let's have a look at this. So here we do have all the thingamajig. Let's see if I can double check it from Docker. So I have the BE apps PCBE. Is it because we are looking at the no, but this is not us doing it. So we do have yarn install frozen log file. Okay, yarn and npm run build be. Okay, if we run npm run, when you get a production error, you should first run everything in local to make sure that you can reproduce the same thing locally before actually trying to fix that and then pushing it yourself. Now you see, we got it. So why does TTL not exist anymore? So they have removed the time to limit. That means so throttler module options does not have this, but you can have a throttler option, which means that now previously we used to have the TTL right here. So if I'm using imports for root, oh, I need to have an array. Look at this. So they have changed it so I can provide multiple values. Ah, that makes sense. But I'm providing an object, that's why. So I just need to say an array here, and that should fix the issue. So you should be able to see the same error right here, like get tracker, and then the TTL thing is here as well. Now throttler behind proxy guard, this one also has an issue. So record string any, string is not assignable to type request, string any, and a promise of a string. Aha. Let's have a look at this one. So when you say get tracker, so then I think it's gonna be a promise any. Parse error. I think still that's gonna be a problem. Not a error request promise any. Ah, sorry, my bad. We're not talking about this. We are talking about this guy, which should be a promise of string. I think here we can unknown as any. I mean we could have used unknown here, or let's just say we want to ignore this at the moment. So when we are returning the IPs.length, it will still return a promise. IPs, and then length. So here you can see the new one is here. So proxies. So then I think we should be using just this protected get tracker instead of the one that we have, since they changed this. And this should be fine. We're not really using reject at all. So string any, promise a string, and that's the same thing. Okay, and here then we can just say the same thing. So let's try to run this as build. I'm hoping this doesn't cause anything to crash anymore, and then I think we should be good. Cool, so this is good. This works. So git add commit. What did we change? Let's double check this. So app module, we changed that to an array, and this also got changed. So git commit fix, and this was PCBE fix throttler config crashing production backend updated throttler config according to the new docs. Also updated the get tracker method for proxies. Let's do a push. Bro, did your graduation degree help you in getting a job, Ali Asghar? Not particularly, but my university helped because I was hired directly from my university among some of the other students as well who did really well in a particular subject. So I was one of the 12 people who got hired in the company. So university in that sense helped. The degree was found to be really useful when I moved outside of Pakistan, because almost everyone here wanted to see my degree. So this definitely helps in that manner. Okay, so let's have a look at the railway thingy. So I think we should also again have some deploys, and this should have the fixed. This should have the server fixed. The front end should not be deployed anymore. I did not really change anything at all. Why is it redeploying? I think I can do a configuration to say ignore any folders that I want. Build and deploy. Can I say ignore? Publish directory, netlify action, functions region, dependency management. Maybe I can say right here. Package directory. I don't have it here, but I do have in railway that can actually look into which directory has changed, and then it can take it from there. All right, so this was successful. So now it's just publishing the image. So yay, awesome. So we should be then able to see it in here as well. So this UI has changed completely, and I think it's much nicer now. So deploys, the front end has been published. That's good. The back end is, I think, almost published. Bro, I love your voice. You should work on making documentaries. No. I don't know. I don't think so. Should I change my voice to this, where we can say we are Venom? Should I keep it the normal one? By the way, which kind of documentaries are we talking about? All right. Come on. Get deployed. We should have this deployed now. Anytime now. So it's going to be publishing, and hopefully then we can double check it. Let's see. Once this is done, I want to also tag my release, and then we'll push the tag, and I think we should be good. Then we should be good. Publish time 77 seconds. Is it published? Say this is published. Say this is published. Still deploying. And the last production was this one. Hey, got published. So if I go here, it should be saying this. If I refresh this page, now this is the moment of truth. So we are deploying. So we're deploying the new migrated version of PulseChecker, in which all the data has been migrated to new tables. And we also have a lot of improvements in terms of UI and the performance and scalability. So let's see. Please work. Hey, let's go. So the new UI is right here. And we also have, if we go to the sessions list, we should have both the new feedback and the session page as well. So for example, this one, Global Dev Slam, we can actually look at all the nice little feedbacks, but then we should also be able to look into the new page as well. So this is the one. And if I go here, hey, there we go. So we got the new one loaded. And as we shared before, and this one was Global Dev Slam, right? So for example, let's go to the test one, Rapid API host. I'm going to copy this one, go here, change this to this one. And I wanted to show you the real-time thingy as well, which should be working in production as well. So if I go here, do it like this, go here, make it like this, and now we have Rapid API host, nothing here at all, and this had just 2 questions. So if I go too fast, test, submit, after 3 seconds we should have this. Hey, look at that, we have everything right here. So test, test, test as well, and now we can also say some reactions as well. Right now we don't have any reactions, but now we'll get. Yay! So without even refreshing in real time, we can actually see all those. So that's pretty much it. I think this was a successful migration, but now I just need to push it and mark this as tagged. So I'm going to go to my VS Code. The last tag was 0.0.7. No relation to James Bond. We can say here, I would actually consider this one as the first release, or not even the first, because I don't have payment. So I will still go with a patch. So git, I would actually go with a minor one. So git tag 0.1.0. And let's add a V before that. And then we can say git push tags. Yay, finally production release. Yeah, a lot of, it's an effort of a lot of days actually. So this one came here. Now we can actually release this, even though, I mean, the repository is private, nobody looks at this, but still it's pretty cool. So I can go to releases, and this is what you want to do when you're actually releasing any open source projects and whatnot. So here I can choose the tag, which is 0.1.0. And then we can also say the previous tag is auto. We can generate the release notes. So we refactored, we had migrate feedback to fields. So all of that is automatically generated. We don't need to do anything fancy around here. And then we can say set this as the latest release. So we can publish the release. And now we have this release created. So if I go back to the code, you can see it right here. This is the latest release. So this is what you'll do usually as well. This one is done actually. So session view in real time as responses are coming, response on the feedback form, see individual feedback. This one is not done. This one is not done as well. We'll probably add that later on. And load while session has been created is done. So let's mark all these as closed. There we go. So just 2 of them are there. Awesome. So that's pretty much it actually. Let's quickly go with with saying goodbyes. So thank you so much for joining today. I hope it was fun for you folks, and I'll see you in the next session, next stream, whenever that happens. So take care. Have a good rest of your weekend. I'll see you next time. Stay healthy.